What's going on, people? Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV and welcome back to another episode of the Premier League SPUR-SPECTIVE, where we're going to take a look at the weekend's games, or is it midweek or no, weekend's game? Yeah, it's weekend this week. I'm getting a bit. But look, the weekend's games, a lot of football happened, and we've got our scores, which is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 3 points for a correct result, and both teams to score 1 point for a correct result, and obviously the star man as well, which is 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. I was doing my best to catch up to Sim, but we'll see what happens this week. As you can see the smile on Sim's face, you can probably tell what happens this week. But I hope you all enjoyed your dose of Monday night football last night, because I most definitely did. We'll get into that in a bit, but let's start off with the first game, which was West Ham against Chelsea, which finished 3-2 to West Ham on the day. Yeah. Sim going 1-1. I went 2-1 to Chelsea. But what a game of football this was.
Yeah, brilliant game. And Chelsea took the lead twice. The second goal especially, what a goal by Mason Mount on the volley, side foot volleys into the near post. But you got to say, Chelsea, they shot themselves in the foot with the first penalty they gave away. So the penalty for the equaliser.
Jorginho's pass to Edouard Mendy.
Both of them completely shooting themselves in the foot. And then obviously West Ham did well to drag themselves back in the game. Good finish from Bowen. And then another big stroke of luck. Bowen, another big stroke of luck for Masuaku's goal right at the end.
Oh my days!
You know, looking for a cross and it ends up in the near post. And if he meant it, it's a quality strike. I think from his celebration, it doesn't look like he meant it, does it?
So, he definitely did not mean it. No chance. No chance did he mean that.
So as much as I look, West Ham again, you know, it's funny. They've won 2 games their last 7, but against Liverpool and Chelsea. Yeah, you know, so impressive. I think they played well, West Ham. You've got to say that. But definitely a big stroke of luck to their victory. Yeah,
definitely. But look, you got to say that whenever they come up against, well, I know they lost to Man City last week, but by and large, any time they've come up against one of the big boys
at
this
home,
season,
especially,
they've done really well. They've made the London Stadium into a bit of a fortress this year. And yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't like to give too much credit to West Ham, but you got to give it to them for beating Chelsea, albeit with a massive stroke of luck.
But Chelsea, their results and performance results are kind of 2 games now.
I know, if we win our game in hand, we're only 5 points behind
them. don't even. But, drew against Man United, lost now to West Ham. It's crucial points that dropping.
I know, especially with Liverpool and Man City not stopping.
On a roll, yeah.
All right, let's move on. The scores stay the same for that one. That stroke of luck doing you out of 3 points there.
Shame.
But let's move on to Newcastle against Burnley. Finished 1-0 to Newcastle. Eddie Howe's first victory as Newcastle manager. Sim getting 5 points for this one. Absolutely spot on. I went 1-1 and I thought Burnley were going to get a goal back in this game, but it wasn't to be. And ultimately Newcastle ended up winning the game. And is it their first win of the season?
That's their first win of the season.
Crazy.
Newcastle. Callum Wilson scoring the winner. A bit of controversy because Pope had 2 hands on the ball and he kind of falls on Fabian Schär and loses control of the ball, falls to Wilson, he scores, but Schär doesn't actually challenge him, which is different. People comparing it to Schmeichel's one, which we'll talk about later. So I think it was right decision to give the goal. And Burnley had a goal ruled out right at the end for VAR, I think, with an offside for Rodriguez.
Oh, did they?
Which could have been 1-1. But Newcastle, I think, well worth her victory. I was watching most of the game, and I think they deserved it in the end.
You know what? Since Eddie Howe's gone there, there has been an uptick in form. I know they haven't been able to get the results as of yet, but I do think they've been playing a bit better. And they've got their win, and well done to them. And let's see how they progress throughout the season.
Showing a bit of fight, aren't they?
Yeah, they are showing a bit of fight, but a lot of work ahead for them and the likes of Norwich as well, because Norwich as well showing a bit of fight. But still, they are rooted at the bottom of the table, so a lot of work to do for both those clubs. But let's move on. Let's go to the South Coast derby. Southampton against Brighton finished 1-1. Sim going 2-1 to Brighton. I went 2-2, so 3 points coming my way, 0 points going Sim's way. Did you see much of this one?
I was watching a bit of it. I didn't see a lot of it, but with the last few minutes because I think there was a lot of stoppage time, so I was taking a look, and obviously Morpie again with another 90th minute goal. Incredible. So it's like a if you could have written this game, because Southampton always take the lead, they always give up in the second half, and Brighton always score a last-minute equaliser. How many last-minute equalisers he scored this season? One against Palace.
I think 3 or 4.
I'm saying Maupay himself.
Maupay himself.
He scored that one against Palace a few weeks ago. He scored one again last week against West Ham.
Overhead kick, yeah.
And he scored another one, literally one of the last kicks of the game again. So he really is becoming the last-minute specialist.
And I'm pretty sure there was a time last season, a small period of games where he did the same, where he was pulling through in the last minute again. Last season, wasn't there one against Arsenal and a few other games?
I remember he did score a winner, I believe, against. Was that last year or 2 years ago? And I can't remember. But he's such a shithouse, Maupay.
Yeah,
as soon as he scores that last, even though it's an equaliser, he starts going to the crowd and going in. He's one of the biggest shithouses in the Premier League.
Yeah, but look, credit to Brighton to keep plugging away.
Still no win for them, but at least they got a point, I guess.
Yeah, they're the draw specialists in the league this year, Brighton. But let's move on. Wolves against Liverpool finished 1-0 to Liverpool with a last-minute goal, wasn't it? Sim went 3-0, I went 2-0. So both of us getting 3 points on that one. But Liverpool just about getting over the line in this one.
Yeah, Origi as well. Very late goal. Liverpool, to be honest, were kicking themselves. They never took the lead earlier. You know, Jota was one of the misses of the season. Did you see that?
No, I missed that actually.
Unbelievable. The keeper and the one of the Wolves defenders getting a muddle. Jota picks it up and he's got a completely open goal to run into, and he's got time as well. And so he's running towards the goal, literally in the penalty area. And then you've got 2 Wolves defenders on the line, and he literally goes up to the 6-yard box and just wellies it, and he hits it straight at Conor Cody, and it deflects away. One of the misses of the season there.
Worse than Aubameyang's?
I would say so, because he had time and space.
Aubameyang had another one last night as well.
Yeah, and not just Aubameyang, but we'll go over that later. But one of the misses of the season for Diogo Jota for 100% in that game. But Liverpool kept plugging away, and they got their goal eventually. I think the goal they deserved, because they were having some serious chances throughout that game. They were unlucky not to take the lead, and the pressure told. And again, it's Divock Origi. He's always comes up with a big goal, doesn't he?
He does. Do you give any credit to Wolves for stifling Liverpool for that long in the game, or was it just unlucky because Liverpool just had a host of chances? Didn't put it away?
And actually they were quite a good threat on the break as well. Adama Traore was providing quite a good threat a few times. They could have they had a few good counters, but by and large they were pretty lucky to be 0-0 going to the last minutes, and I think Liverpool probably deserved it.
All right, 3 points each for that one. Let's move over to Watford against Manchester City, which finished 3-1 to Man City. Both of us going 4-1, so another 3 points are on the board for us. But in terms of this game, Man City take the lead early, and I thought this was going to be a cricket score. Credit to Watford for keeping it at bay to 3-1, because it really looked like this game was going to go quite ugly at one stage.
It was all 2 minutes in, didn't he? Sterling scored, but Bernardo Silva again, another 2 goals. I love that third goal as well. Brilliant finish, cutting inside on his left foot on the edge of the box into the top corner. It's like you have no doubt as well that was going to go in, and he's playing out of his skin at the moment.
If it wasn't for Mo Salah, he would be a shoo-in for player of the year so far.
Honestly, he would definitely, he would have a massive shout, and he's really stepping up. He's maybe finally stepping into David Silva's shoes. Everyone thought maybe he could. He looks like it, and he's got maybe adding goals to his game as well. You know what I mean? He's absolutely scored a lot of goals.
Unbelievable season for Bernardo Silva. And, out of the 3 clubs, Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea, they look the strongest this weekend anyway. And I think that when you're looking at the 3-horse race for the title, anyone's guess is as good as any of them can win it, can't they?
I know. I think each team has its own doubts. Liverpool, they got Mane and Salah missing for the African Cup of Nations, don't they, in January? So we'll see how they react to that.
That's going to be a massive loss.
City, will the lack of a striker ever catch up with them throughout the season? We don't know. Probably doesn't look like it at the moment, but still another half a season to go, and then some. And then Chelsea, are they consistent enough? They keep dropping points. Silly points. But
are you talking about these 3 clubs and talking about the 3 best clubs in Europe at the moment? 3 best football teams in Europe at the moment?
I think they probably have the 3 best squads in Europe, for sure. Definitely. When it comes to Liverpool, definitely on the starting 11. I think so. I'd
agree. Because the Premier League is just that far ahead of any other league at the moment.
We took the top 2 highest goal scorers from Serie A, didn't we?
True.
Lukaku and Ronaldo.
Yeah, true. Didn't even think of it like that. But yeah. All right, let's move on. Another 3 points each there. Next game, we move over to the Sunday games, which is Leeds against Brentford, which finished 2-2. Another 5 points for Simeon. I went for 2-0 to Leeds. But yeah, what did you make out of this one?
We were watching Spurs at the time.
Oh yeah, we were. Yeah.
So we didn't get to see much of it. All I know is that Leeds took the lead. Brentford then scored a
bloody
2 goals.
last-minute goal to bring you 5
literally
points.
95th minute goal from Patrick Bamford from a corner, giving Leeds a point right at the end, and it was a point that they'll probably feel like they deserve. But Brentford will feel hard done by. They couldn't get over the line with literally the last kick of the game. But without Ivan Toney, a point isn't probably the worst result. But you know, when you're 2-0 up in the 95th, 2-1 up in the 95th minute, you've got to be disappointed not taking 3 points.
Yeah, and Bamford back from injury and back in the goals already in the first game. So
he seemed relieved when he scored that goal as well.
Yeah, he's been out for a while, Patrick Bamford, and yeah, it was good to see him back and good to see him back on the score sheet. But you know, Leeds, how do you assess them this season? They're still just sort of like just plodding away, aren't they? They're not really doing much.
They're not really getting the wins they were getting last year. Like last season, I reckon they would win this game, but this season it kind of seems like they're struggling to really get over the line. Like it's a lot more difficult for them, it seems, to be getting points. And I don't think they're going to go down. Although I do actually, the more I think about it, they might be in a relegation battle. But I think they should. I think they should have enough to stay up. But you know, considering how well they did last season, you would hope they would kick on and look to improve. But it looks like they've regressed a bit.
I think there are 3 worse teams than them in the league this year. I do think that, but they do need to be very careful, that's for sure. Manchester United against Crystal Palace finished 1-0 to Man United on the night. 3-1 you went for, I went for 2-1, but did finish 1-0 in Ralph Rangnick's first game in charge as interim manager. Just about get over the line, Manchester United, but
quality goal from Fred.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, right footed edge of the area, curls it into the far corner. You did, I showed it, you were watching it live.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right, I did see it, yeah. Good goal from Fred, but you know, we were watching the Spurs game at the time, so I didn't see much of it. Did you watch the highlights or anything like that?
I actually haven't seen the highlights of this game, to be honest. So I don't really know how well. I've read a few things at Man United. Definitely, I've seen a few clips, and it looks like Man United were definitely implementing a much higher pressing game and looking to hassle and harry Crystal Palace, and it seemed to work for the first 20 minutes. But Palace, what from what I read, grew into the game. Could have easily got a draw, but it was a late goal from Fred, which gave them 3 points, and a much needed 3 points from Man United. And that's 2 wins on the bounce now, isn't it?
It is. And when you're assessing Crystal Palace, I mean, you're saying that Leeds need to be wary. The Palace need to be wary. Because Palace can't seem to get a win these days.
They do need to be wary.
Really.
Yeah, they do lack for wins. But I see more quality in the Palace squad than I do in the Leeds squad, personally. Like, if you're giving me Palace's set of strikers, you know, Zaha, Olise, Eze, Benteke, Edouard, Ayew, like, Leeds can't compete with that going forward.
It's true, but, you know, no matter how much quality you have, if you can't get the wins on the board...
Yeah, but it's still... Look, it's early days, isn't it, for under a new... Not early days,
How many wins have they had this season? 3?
I think 2 or 3, yeah, not a lot.
I mean, that's nowhere near good enough for the quality they've shown.
No, it's not. But I think when you've got a new manager like that and he's getting his ideas across, the results sometimes will fluctuate. But I believe how they're playing, they'll stand in a good stead in going to the second half of the season.
All right, let's move on to Spurs against Norwich. Finished 3-0 to Spurs. You went 2-0, so you get 3 points. I went 3-0, so 5 points coming my way. We won 3-0, but it wasn't really a 3-0 game, in my opinion, was it?
I think we deserved the win. 3-0 probably just about flat as us.
2-0 was probably right.
2-0 probably fair reflection.
I'll give you the 5 points. All right,
but I would say, we were clinical. We were clinical, but we had a lot more chances than Norwich. But the only thing is, Norwich probably definitely feel hard done by that they didn't get any sort of. They created some really promising openings, and they were pretty disappointed they didn't get a goal.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so 3 points to Sim in that one, 5 points to me as we move on to Villa against Leicester. The last game on the Sunday finished 2-1 to Villa. Another 5 points for Simeon on the day. I had 1-1. And yeah, Villa really under Steven Gerrard, they're really on a bit of a roll at the moment.
3 wins out of 4 games for Gerrard, and his next game he goes to Anfield, so it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But I think Villa again showed a lot of character, going 1-0 down, and not only coming back, they got the equaliser, and then they had that goal disallowed, which was pretty controversial. But I think from the laws of the game, Schmeichel has his hand on the ball and it's in contact with the ground. Apparently, if a keeper does that, even if it's just for half a second, it counts as him being in control of the ball. So you can't score from that situation. That's why the goal was ruled out. But from Villa's point of view, I can understand their frustrations with it because, what do you expect Ramsey to do? He has to hit that in. And they got ruled out, but they kept going. And in the second half, Konsa got his second goal, 2 goals for Ezri Konsa in this game. And Villa just keep plugging away, don't they? Another hard-fought victory, and very impressive from Gerrard so far. They haven't been playing great football or anything like that, but it's been they've been very, very solid, and they've been kind of being very clinical when they're getting opportunities to go forward, and they're using a bit more of their physicality rather than any guile or anything to get through these games. But Gerrard's turned them around so far.
And Leicester, how are you assessing Leicester at the moment?
Again, as I said before, when they beat Watford, I wasn't convinced by them. I didn't think it was a very good performance, even though they won 4-2. Watford had a plethora of chances. They really did. They then drew to Southampton 2-2, where they could have easily lost that game. And now they've gone and lost to Villa. So they're very, very inconsistent. And they've got a massive game on midweek against Napoli as well, which they need to win. They have to beat Napoli to go through in Europa League. So if they go out Europa League, and the form they're on, Rodgers' position might start to look a bit shaky.
I think that once they get their defenders back, they'll be all right. I mean, they've had Fofana out for a while. They've had James Justin out for a while. They've had Pereira out. I mean, that's their whole back line pretty much, with Sionchu in there, but he's not on form. The other 3 players, there's a massive misses for them. So I think once they get these...
I don't know. The back line they're playing, Castagna, Sionchu, Evans, and I don't know who played a left back. But that's not... terrible.
It's not terrible. It is not terrible. But when you're looking at their back line from last season, they were very solid at times. Fofana was one of their biggest players last season. Pereira is a massive player for them at right back. And James Justin, I was listening to a Leicester fan that called on the radio last night and talked sport, and he was saying how important that guy James Justin is for them. So, I mean... it's a lot to be said that your second line back line is playing. You know what I mean? It's not their first choice.
Come on.
It is.
Sionchu and Evans is not second choice.
Why not? Fofana's their first choice.
So Sionchu and Evans have been a mainstay in their defence for a long time.
But Fofana was one of their best, if not their best centre back last season.
Now. You can't blame
and their fullbacks as well.
Castagna was a first team player, 100%. He can't say he's second choice for Castagna when he first came in.
When he first came in, but then he got out of favour, he got injured, you know what I mean? James Justin and Pereira are their first choice fullbacks.
I'm sorry, you can't have the back line they had, blame the back line they had yesterday for their defeat. I'm sorry. That's not a good enough excuse. They've got a good enough back line to be doing what needs to be done for them. They've had good performances with those defenders before. There's no you can't say, we have Sionchu, Evans, so obviously we're going to lose. That's not an excuse.
I'm not saying they have that back line and obviously they're going to lose. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that they don't have their first choice back line, so they're not as confident as they were going into the season. And when you're looking at the team that they're playing, I mean, they're conceding set-piece goals every single week.
Correct.
They're defending from set pieces and nowhere near good enough. And 2 set pieces again this week. Their defence is not performing well enough at all. And they're missing the players that are out.
That's on Rodgers.
Yeah, that might be on Rodgers, but I do feel once they get these players back, I think they'll be all right. That's just my opinion.
I'm just saying, if they exit Europa League and they don't improve their league form, he might be shaky.
Maybe. All right, let's move over to last night's game. Everton against Arsenal finished 2-1 to Everton on the night. Sim went 1-1. I went 1-0 to Arsenal. But, Sim getting done out of 5 points in the last minute from Damari Gray, but I'm sure he won't mind.
I've never been happier to lose 5 points in my life.
I'm sure he won't mind. It was an absolutely stunning goal from Damari Gray. And on the other hand, Arsenal were absolutely dreadful in this game. They really were. From start to finish, I have no idea how they were 1-0 up in the game.
It was right before half-time, wasn't it? On the stroke of half-time, they scored. And also it was like a minute after they conceded.
Literally a minute. 2 goals ruled out by offside. The second one was a tiny bit harsh, but I think from a different angle you could see he is quite offside. So I think that
there's a very deceiving angle that that's shown, and because it looks like Gabriel's leg and Richarlison's leg are both on the line. But actually, Richarlison's leg is actually in the air, and it's actually quite clear that he was offside, unfortunately for him.
Exactly, but Arsenal absolutely dreadful from start to finish. Thomas Partey I thought was absolutely terrible in this game. Aubameyang comes on, has a gilt-edged chance right in the last minute to level it up for Arsenal, and he blazes it well wide.
Nketiah as well with an unbelievable miss.
Yeah, Nketiah, but you don't really expect that much from Nketiah. I mean, apparently Nketiah's refusing to sign a new contract, and Arteta keeps playing him the last few games. I don't get it.
what happened to Pepe? Where's Pepe? Pepe had a good last few games of the season. We haven't seen him pretty much this season.
He's going for Nketiah to bring him on instead of Pepe.
Yeah,
incredible, crazy,
incredible.
And Nketiah is refusing to sign a contract.
So Arsenal again faltering but Everton, showed a lot of character, because it would have been very easy for them with all those goals ruled out for VAR. Twice it happened, Richarlison scoring and then celebrating and then getting it ruled out. It takes a lot of character to keep coming back. But I thought they were well worth the victory. They were unlucky to be 1-0 down.
Yeah.
They deserved to get back in the game when they did. And I think despite Arsenal having a couple of late misses, I think Everton were definitely the better team, and they definitely deserved the victory. And Damari Gray, not only did he score that goal, unbelievable goal, but also for the equaliser, what a hit that was as well onto the crossbar, which Richarlison turns away. And 7, I think it's 6 defeats in 7 for them, and then Dr. Arsenal, maybe you can say.
Yeah, Dr. Arsenal. And for all of Arsenal, everyone was going on about Arsenal 10 games unbeaten. I told you every single time on this show that I'm not having any of this Arsenal propaganda. Look at Arsenal now, 3 defeats in their last 4 games, and Arteta is under pressure again.
3 defeats on the bounce. Oh no, 3 away defeats on the bounce.
3 away defeats on the bounce, 3 defeats in 4 games, because they had that win against Newcastle in between there. So
now 2 points ahead with a game in hand.
Exactly. So everyone giving us the Arsenal propaganda over the last 5-6 weeks because they're 10 games unbeaten. I told you they never beaten anyone. They didn't beat anyone of note. So Arsenal back to losing, back to smiles on our faces, and let's move on to the star man. Sim went for Son, I went for Kane. Kane drawing another blank. Sonny getting a goal and an assist. So Sim getting 3 points for the star man. And look, credit to you. You've had an absolutely smashing week this week in
I think
SPUR-SPECTIVE.
three correct score lines. Starman also getting a goal and assist, and a few good other positive results as well. And now I've got 2 last-minute goals costing me 8 more points.
If it was
that would have been every single game. No,
if it was a standard week this week, if it was just a standard week this week, my point return actually would have been good.
Yeah, because what do you start on 156? You actually got above average.
Yeah,
you did actually, but I actually just had a absolute stormer. So
I guess this week was very guessable.
You reckon?
Must have been if we both did pretty well. Well, you did very well and I did pretty well.
25-point gap now.
Yeah.
Still confident of clawing it back?
Definitely. Long way to go. The December period is a very busy period, my friend. I'm going to claw it back by the end of December, I tell you that. But look, that
it took me, I think, a couple of weeks ago for a period.
I think in a mid episode, but then you overtook it again. But it's mad. You were like 20 points ahead. Then I clawed it all the way back, and now you've got the gap further again. But look, I back myself to get it, and you're going to be the first one to 200 points, I imagine, but I'm going to win it by the end of the season. I guarantee you that. But look, that is the end of the Premier League Perspective. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding any of the games this weekend. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.